on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of RQ10 to RQ100. Today I'm going to be selecting, in my opinion, what is the best British car for every RQ that is available. So I say available because there are no British cars that are RQ11 and RQ10. Isn't that crazy? There's also no British car in the game that is RQ69. I thought that was absolutely insane, but that's a fact, and we'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, I want you watching right now to picture the scene, okay? Imagine this. You are the team captain of Team GB, and you have to select one car. Let's say that this thing called the Top Drives Olympics exists, okay? You're the team captain for Team GB, and you have to select one car from your country to represent each RQ available, okay? So that's exactly what I'm doing today. It's my personal opinion, but I think that these are the best British cars for each RQ. Now, why I want to stress this is because unlike the USA, which was the last country I reviewed, the UK was very stressful because there's an ongoing trend when it comes to British cars and top drives, okay? There's some RQs where I have to choose between two crappy cars, and there's some other RQs where I have to choose between two amazing cars. And it's really annoying because you want to fit 271s, but you can't because it defeats the purpose of the series. But you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, I'm going to use the example straight off the bat. RQ12, 13, 14, okay? RQ12 gave me two options. It was this and a Vauxhall. Coincidentally, both cars have the same stats, same 0 to 60, same handling. The Vauxhall has a higher top speed, but the Fiesta is the lighter car. And these are cars that you're not going to pull on the drag anyway, so I decided to go with the lighter car because of that advantage on the twisties. Because, you know, it's lighter, it's more nimble. The Vauxhall Astro, once again, the RQ13 British cars in the game were hot garbage. The only reason why I chose the Astro was because it handled the best. And now we talk about the Cortina, okay? RQ14. RQ14 had two fantastic cars to choose from. So you have some RQs where you're pulling your hair out to choose which of the two craps is least crap. And then you have other RQs where you have to choose which of the two starlets is the better starlet. It's like saying that, okay, let's say that RQ13 you have to pick a skier, okay? But then you realize that, you know, the UK has nobody that is able to ski at an Olympic level, but you have to choose someone to represent your country for skiing anyway. And then RQ14 is like football. But what am I gonna do? So you can't take Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling. You have to choose one or the other. I would choose probably Raheem Sterling, but you know what I mean? Like, it's actually painful. But I chose the MK1 Cortina in the end. The other car that was fighting in contention for RQ14 was the TVR Grand Tourer, which handles better and has a lower 0 to 60. The only reason why the Cortina won out is because it has medium ground clearance, it has performance tires and 5 seats, which is a very, 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 very rare niche when it comes to common. So I actually use this car a lot. Moving on to RQ15. Finally, this one was, you know, no stress. Cater Lotus 7, you know, it's like one of your best common slalom wet car, so that one no stress. TVR Vixen represents RQ16. Great handling, lower 0 to 60. It's a slightly better version of the Grand Tourer, so in some sense, the Grand Tourer has been avenged. The TVR 1600M takes RQ17. It's a slightly better version of the TVR Vixen. Once again, these cars are twisty specialists. They know what they want to do. There are a lot of standard tire commons, and as you can see, the majority, I wouldn't say the majority, but 3 of these are performance tires because they know what they want to do. You know, there are a lot of yee British commons that don't really handle very well. Some are pretty mediocre, so I kind of chose the cars that stood out, and that's basically the purpose of the series. Ford Focus Fiesta, sorry, I love how I was looking at it and I still call it a Focus. RQ18 representation, the best handling one here. It's also one of the lightest ones. And then last but not least, okay, no stress. No stress. Ford Fiesta 1.0. Eventually, once I cover all the countries, I'll do one where it's like the best car for every RQ in the entire game. You know, no restrictions of countries. Because we've done the US, now we're doing the UK. I can tell you right now that this is the best RQ19 in the game. There isn't a better one. This is the best. This thing is overpowered to hell. It has traction control. It has ABS. It has good handling. It has standard. It has medium ground clearance. It's light. I mean, the thing is absolutely mental. Now, moving on to uncommons now, we have a Blossom Choice in the Vauxhall HP Forenza. It is a very lightweight car with performance tires, medium ground clearance, and it handles well, 0 to 60 under 10 seconds, which is nice for an RQ20. RQ21 came to Ford Focus. Now, RQ21, not a lot of good options to choose from again, right? And once again, it's like choosing between, three mediocre people. Cars. Not people, cars. It feels mean to say people, so I'll say cars. Once again, when the going gets tough, I pick the car of the best handling. RQ22, Aston Martin DB4. Now, I want you to remember this, okay? Remember the DB4. Just remember it. I will call back to the DB4 later, okay? Now, moving on, RQ23, TVR Tamar. A lot of these low RQ TVRs, they get you value. They're kind of like the Suzuki for British cars. They handle well. They have relatively low 0 to 60s, and they're all very lightweight. Moving on, RQ24 is the Ford Ranger. Four-wheel drive, all-surface tires, and, that's actually really good handling for a four-wheel drive, all-surface tire car with 24 RQ. Now, it also even has ABS. No traction control, to be fair, but it has ABS, so it's a bit better than, a lot better than, those older Range Rovers or the Volkswagens with the off-road tires. Moving on, RQ25, TVR 280i. Now, I know what you're thinking, Blossom, how can you say that these are the best cars for, the UK, for each RQ, but you don't even have them, Shouldn't I be having, all of the best cars? Here's the thing, okay? Yeah, it's the best RQ25 British car, but it's not the best RQ25 by a long shot. I can guarantee you, when it comes to me ranking the best cars for each RQ, regardless of country, I will have every car Ultra and below. I promise. But yeah, when it just comes to British onlys, I can get by without using them. But yeah. When it comes to TV, when it comes to RQ25, this was the best. It's a bit of a hybrid, it's light, it handles okay, not good, but okay. Relatively low 0 to 60 and a relatively high top speed, I guess. Moving on to the Ford Mondeo. Once again, there was not a lot to choose from, bro. I just chose it because, it has the estate niche. It's standard, and it has really good handling. Moving on is the Lotus Eclat. I love saying that name, Eclat. It sounds like... It sounds like silly putty, like when you throw it down on the floor. Like, it sounds like splat. I think that's what I'm thinking of, splat, but that's what I'm thinking of, bro. Once again, it's just a bit of a hybrid. It handles quite well, but not as well as, the twin cam, which we'll get to in a bit. Ford Focus wraps up RQ28. Once again, it's just the best handling car there, and there wasn't much to choose from. And last but not least, finally, the Europa twin cam. Now, this is one of the best RQ29s in the game. I believe that the best 29 in the game does go to the Mazda Yunus Roadster, or the not the Twizy, Yunus Roadster, but the twin cam is actually very, very good, to be fair. It's a Blossom choice. It's a very, very strong car. Definitely, no stress choosing that as 29. Now, remember I talked about the Aston Martin RQ22? That's why I've chosen this for RQ30. Here's the thing, man. There's one niche that the UK is incredibly weak in, and that is dragsters, okay? Like, when it comes to the US, you have the Dodge D100 for RQ24 or 25, and then you have the Mustang Boss for 27, then you have the Challenger for 29. You're spoiled for choice when it comes to dragsters in the uncommon range for the US, but when it comes to the UK, you got absolutely nothing, bro, okay? The next best dragster is an RQ22. From RQ30 to 22. I guess you can kind of make an argument for the RQ24 DB5, which is slightly better than the DB4, but the DB5 still has its 0 to 60s in like the 8 seconds. Like, it's still really bad. So that's why the V8 Volante, in my opinion, is the best 30, because it's a dragster. It's not a good dragster, but it's like one of the only dragsters in like a 10-mile radius when it comes to its RQ, or in like a 10 RQ radius, you know what I mean? So that's why I've given it RQ30, the best RQ30. RQ31, KTM 7 160. Now this one was pretty easy, very easy, in fact, the best rare slalom wet car to use. And then you have the Land Rover Defender 90, four-wheel drive, off-road tires, high ground clearance as well, and relatively lightweight. I mean, when it comes to, SUV SUVs and off-roaders, if it's under 1,900 kgs, I call it relatively lightweight. So it is, you know. Moving on to RQ33, it's the Rover 216. Great handling and medium ground clearance. And since we're on the topic of Rover, it's the same exact reason for the MG Montego Turbo. For some reason, I think these two cars are, you know, exactly the same. Can you blame me? Just look at them. But yeah, these two cars are here for the same reasons. They are just both medium, and they both have great handling. The Lotus Elan, a very, very lightweight car, coming in at 585 kgs. Decent handling for a standard tire car, and it's also medium. So there's a lot to love about the Lotus Elan. RQ36, finally, another British dragster, and it's the last British dragster you're gonna see until we move on to like ultra rare, basically. Well, actually, no, there is one super rare, which is also in this list. Yeah, the Amine V8, man. High top speed, well, not really. I mean, I guess it's average top speed, 155. Low 0 to 60 though, so definitely, I love this car. I wish it had a better picture though. RQ37 goes to the Land Rover Defender 110. This thing is a menace. Good handling for four-wheel drive off-road tires at, you know, a low RQ, and that's really all that's to be said. It's a very heavy car. Moving on is the Vauxhall Chevette HSR. Now this car needs no introduction. Now this is the best RQ38 in the game, in my opinion. I don't think there's a single RQ38 that's better than this. The Dodge Demon Roadster is very good, but this is the best rare for the city streets, you know, vanilla, small, and medium. Very lightweight car, amazing handling, and that's really all you need. RQ39 is going to be the Ford Escort Rally Spec. Now, once again, another situation of choosing between two starlets. You know, RQ39 for British has the Ford Escort, but also has the Lotus Elise 1.6. Both of them blossom choice, both of them amazing. But eventually I decided to go for the Escort because it truly is a king in its niche. Rear wheel drive off-road for the rare. It's the only one, and it's a very good one at that, you know? For the Lotus Elise 1.6, the reason why I didn't choose it to represent RQ39 for the UK is because it does lose on some track sets to the Volvo, which is also RQ39. So a bit more competition there, where else the Ford Escort Rally Spec, no competition whatsoever. Of course, with the Dodge Charger RT, it's just always going to be here. Whenever you see this series, you're always going to see this car. Absolutely, no matter what. No matter what. RQ40, Lotus Elise. Very lightweight car with decent handling and a low 0 to 60. 41 goes to the MG Maestro Turbo. Once again, it is a lightweight machine. Fantastic British car if you want to save RQ, but you have more RQ to use where you don't need to use the Chevette. So let's say like you have 41, then yeah, you can use the MG Maestro. It's slightly better. You know, it's medium, it's light, it handles well, it has a lower 0 to 60 compared to the Chevette. Moving on to RQ42 now, I actually lost breath for a second. Is the Jaguar XKSS. Now this one was tough. Okay, let me just show you my pain. So if I go into, where is it? Country. Let's just go into the UK. Let me just show you RQ42. Let me show you the options I had to work with for 42. Okay? Okay. Two very, very crappy handling Range Rovers. A bit of a hybrid that loses everywhere. Handling is not good enough. 0 to 60 is not low enough. Top speed isn't high enough. And you have a Bentley. And then you have the Ford Ranger, which handles well, but it has a 0 to 60 slower than I can run 0 to 60, and it's also very heavy. So in the end, I decided to go with the XKSS because it was the only car here that actually knew what it wanted to do. It's a dragster, okay? It has a relatively low 0 to 60, and it's light, and that's the only like I said, man, like, the options were not very, they were not in my favor, okay? Like, I just chose the Jag in the end. So let's go back to wishlisted and let's continue where we left off of the Jag. Moving on to 43 now, we have the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport. This one was easy to choose, great handling, medium ground clearance, standard tires. Ford Fiesta, this is the only British RQ44. Can you freaking believe that? So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a buy. You win right away. Aston Martin V8 Vantage, finally the next dragster to talk about, right? Once again, low 0 to 60, high top speed, decent handling as well, but this is a car that you want to drag spec all the time. Now moving on, RQ46 with the Ford Galaxy, four-wheel drive standard tires, that's it. 47, it was literally this or a Bentley Azure. So you can see why I've chosen the DB7. 48 goes to the highest handling medium ground clearance British Super Rare in the Ford Focus RS. And then 49, of course, this was easy, the Lotus Elise Sprint. Now let's move on to Ultra Rares. RQ50, we start off once again with Lotus Elise Sport 135. There are a lot of Lotuses, by the way, in this list. It really just goes to show how valuable the Lotus carbon fiber is. TVR Griffith 200, once again, not a lot of good options, but I went with the TVR because it has a two-tone for now. It has a, very light weight, and it has a, there's nothing good. There's honestly, I was gonna say it has average 0 to 60, but honestly, there's nothing good to say about it. Like I said, not a lot of options. 52 was the Ford Focus ST. Now, the Ford Focus ST is basically just a combination of the two top medium ground clearance British Super Rares. So there's one with 6.283, the Super Chips, and then the Focus, the other one that we saw, was 6.384. So this basically just takes the best of both worlds. It takes the handling from the highest handling Super Rare, and then the 0 to 60 of the, Super Chips. So I gave it 52. I know, I'm really stretching it for some of the explanations, but if you could see the options I had, yeah. Aerial Atom 1 takes 53 though. This is a very good car, very, very lightweight. I wish I had it. I still can't seem to unpack this. It's from my birth year as well, 1999. I need to have it in the collection. Very good handling as well. Then RQ54, the Caterham 7270. Finally, a car that needs no introduction. Fantastic car, that one. Moving on, 55. Now, believe it or not, this is the only RQ55 British Ultra Rare that isn't a price car. So there you go. It's also a very good car that handles well. Can you believe that this used to be super rare? Because it used to be super rare, but it handles well, medium ground clearance, 4-wheel drive, and also is a relatively lightweight car, coming in at under, for some reason I keep clicking the back button, 1,225 kgs. Moving on, 56, the Jaguar X-Type, 4-wheel drive, standard tires, so it speaks for itself. RQ57, the Caterham 7360, very lightweight, just a better version of the Aerial Atom that we saw before. RQ58 goes to the Vauxhall VX220. Now this is actually a very impressive car when it comes to British cars only, because it has a good combination of the lowest 0 to 60 within its RQ and the highest handling within its RQ. So the Vauxhall VX220 is actually a pretty good car. It's also very, very lightweight, so definitely a car on my sights. I want to get it. This and the Aerial Atom and the Magan, to be fair, R26, are 3 Ultra Rares I've wanted for a very long time that I just can't seem to get. RQ59, okay. This one, no introduction, and no explanation needed. Introduction or explanation needed. The TVR 450 SEAC takes RQ60. It's a fantastic hybrid, this one, okay? Great MRA, decent handling, and a low 0 to 60. Moving on to 61, talk about, hybrids, all-rounders. We have the Lotus Carlton. Amazing MRA. Once again, think about 86 MRA. Great handling. Sorry, not great handling, but decent handling, given the fact that it is a medium ground clearance car, and it's from the 90s. It also has a high top speed, so it's a pretty good car. Moving on, RQ62 Lotus Exige S1 needs no introduction over here. Great little hybrid, amazing MRA, low 0 to 60, and a high handling count. And RQ63 was the TVR Tamora. Once again, this didn't give me any stress, okay? So you can see that this part was pretty easy to choose what was the best car to represent the UK. High top speed, great MRA, very, very lightweight car, 1,060 kgs, and has a low 0 to 60. And then RQ64. RQ64 was tough, because it was either the Aston Martin Rapide S or the Ford RS200. Now this one, I think, a bit of controversy. Comment down below if you agree with my pick or not. I decided to go with the Rapide S over the RS200, mainly because I get more use out of the Aston Martin Rapide S, at least recently. It's the best British saloon Ultra Rare, and it has very, very good handling and a low 0 to 60 and a high top speed. It is an all-rounder that hits the mark everywhere, unlike that RQ42 Jaguar that is an all-rounder that just misses the mark everywhere. The Rapide S is a very strong car. Personally, I think it's a borderline epic, if anything, but so is the RS200. But at the end of the day, I went Rapide S over RS200. Both of them are fantastic cars, but like I said, there's some RQs where I have to choose between two craps, and there's some RQs where I have to choose between two absolutely amazing cars, and this was one of them. RQ65, I decided to choose the Range Rover 5.0 V8, and I think it goes without saying, I've said it at the start, but this is my personal opinion, of course, so please don't rage too much in the comments. Range Rover 5.0 V8, very low 0 to 60, high top speed. It's a dragster off-roader. It is basically the British version of the Trailblazer SS. 66 is the Evora 280. Great handling, decent MRA, nothing more aside from those 2 pluses. But there are 2 more pluses than any of the other RQ 66s for the British cars. 67 is the Land Rover Defender Works V8 4-wheel drive off-road tires and a very low 0 to 60 for its niche. 68 is the Caterham 7420. Very low 0 to 60. Bad handling, to be honest, but a very low 0 to 60 and a very lightweight car to make up for it. Moving on, like I said, no RQ69. Believe it or not, there is no British RQ69 that is a non-prize car. RQ70, though, goes to the Aston Martin DB10. Once again, I only had 2 cars to choose from. It was this or a fat Continental, and of course, I was going for the DB10 with 87 handling. It's not even a bad 70, honestly. 71, the Jaguar XKRS. Okay. Now I want to show you my pain, okay? So let's go to Epic and let's go to the UK, because this one, I was staring at this for the longest time, okay? 71, I have 2 options. It's either the Jag XKR or the Jag XJR, and I think it's fair to say that the XKR wins it by a mile, handles a lot better, same 0 to 60. Now, I know that this is medium, but at the end of the day, you have the Jaguar 575 that comes in at 73, so honestly, like, this is going to be overshadowed anyway. But you see what I mean, right? RQ70, 2 mediocre cars to pick from. RQ71, once again, 2 mediocre cars to pick from. At the end of the day, like, both of these cars aren't that great, but at the end I had to choose one. And then you move on to 72, and 72 I had so much stress because I was like, am I going to pick the Scura? Am I going to pick the CSR? Or am I going to pick the F-Type? At the end of the day, I decided to go with the F-Type because it has 98 MRA, a high top speed, and a low 0 to 60 for RQ72. Why I didn't choose the Scura? Why I didn't choose the CSR? Is because there are a lot of British cars that handle better in this niche. I mean, when you move on to 73, right here, you see the Exige Cup, which didn't even get the tag. So at the end of the day, it was hard. This one, you can really go 3 ways. You can either choose the Scura, the CSR, the convertible. There's no wrong answer, but in the end, I decided to go with the F-Type because of its MRA and because I feel like I can get the most value out of it, maybe. Like, it's just a very strong dragster. It's not to say that this is you see what I mean? It's stressful. Why can't one of these cars just be 71 so I can pick 2 of you? But you're not. You're all 72 and you're giving me a hard time. But anyway, let's go back to my wish list. Oh god, honestly, seriously, when I was making this video, guys, I was staring at this 71 and 72 for like 15 minutes. But in the end, I went with the F-Type. But yeah, moving on. 73, we have the XJR 575. Now, this car, I mean, you just seem to use it everywhere. It just needs to be used everywhere. It's medium, it's a saloon, it handles well, it has a low 0 to 60, it has good MRA and a high top speed, 82 MRA to be exact. 74 goes to the Aston Martin V12 Vantage Carbon Black. Not a lot of options, so I went with the Vantage in the end. 75 goes to the Caterham JPE. You see what I mean? It's a better twisty car than the Scura, than the Scura and the other Lotuses that we saw before. It's very, very lightweight, 530 kgs, 3.5 0 to 60, very low 0 to 60, decent MRA for a Caterham, to be fair, and good handling. 76 goes to the Jaguar I-Pace, one of the best entire cars in the game. 77 goes to the Lotus Elise Cup 250. This was a hard one as well because it was either this or the Jaguar TWR. I want this in the end because it has a much lower 0 to 60, it is much lighter, and it handles better than the TWR. The only thing the TWR has over the Elise is that it has better MRA. It has 100 MRA, but it's not like the Elise Cup has no MRA. It has 89 MRA as well. So in the end, there were more positives in the Elise. I chose the Elise. 78 goes to the Bentley Bentayga Diesel. Two-tone, amazing MRA. It beats the legendary versions of the Bentayga, which is very, very sad, but also true. 79 goes to the Tuscan race car. It was either this or the Aston Martin CC100, and when you think about it, this is a lighter, faster version with a higher top speed of the Aston Martin CC100. The only reason why they're both 79 is because this has slick tires and the Aston Martin CC100 has performance tires. Moving on now, RQ80. The Ariel Atom 2 Supercharged because it's the lightest car here with a 0 to 60 that is incredibly low. It has the lowest 0 to 60 by a mile compared to anything in its RQ. Moving on is the RQ81 TVR Typhon. This is a car that knows what it wants to be, okay? Low 0 to 60, 100 MRA, very high top speed. No stress. This this was an easy pick. 82, once again, very easy pick, is the Caterham Superlight R500. And then 83 is the Caterham 7 620R. A lot of Lotuses, a lot of Caterhams, okay? 84, Ariel Atom 4. And as you can see, the UK really has a niche, doesn't it? Twisty, 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 twisty. But talk about twisty cars now. 85, thank the Lord for the Jaguar XJ220 STWR, because if this car wasn't 85, I would have just skipped 85 as a whole, because if it wasn't for the TWR, there were only 4 other non-prize 85 RQ British cars. 3 of them were Bentleys and 1 was a really bad F-Type. So thank God for the TWR. This was the best car by a mile. Amazing MRA, amazing top speed. And it's the same thing for the DBS Superleggera. Amazing MRA, amazing top speed, and amazing handling as well. 110 MRA and capable of hitting 101 handling. Really, really good. I mean, I want this car. Okay, I just really, really want it and I want to max it out. Moving on is the Lotus Exige Cup 430. Great MRA, lightweight car, amazing handling. Same reasons for the Lotus 311. And that kind of wraps up our Lotuses. There are no more Lotuses that's RQ88 or higher. 89 moves on is the McLaren F1 LM. I think this is just the perfect balance of all the RQ89s on offer. There's the 12C, there's the F1 GT, but this has the best handling and the lowest 0 to 60. It has the weakest MRA, but it's not like it's the weakest MRA by a mile. Moving on is the McLaren 650S. Now 2.90 to 60, 90 handling, and over 100 MRA makes it a very, very strong car. Moving on to 91 is the McLaren. Oh my goodness, look at all the McLarens. McLaren. 5. There are 5 McLarens. 91 is the 650S GT3, and 92 is the 720S GT3. Now, both of them, you know, same reasons. They just handle absolutely ridiculously. 96, 97 stock, okay? And they have great MRA as well. The only thing bringing both of these two cars down is that their 0 to 60s are actually quite weak for their RQ, but it really doesn't matter because they have great MRA, high top speeds, and they have great MRA. Great MRA and great handling. 93 goes to the Bentley Continental GT3. Yes, there is actually a Bentley in this list, believe it or not. Very good handling, good MRA as well, 100 MRA, and it's a relatively lightweight car coming in at 1,260 kgs. 94 is the McLaren 720S. It's a fantastic all-rounder. It has amazing 0 to 60. I mean, when you think about it, it's almost demon 0 to 60, right? Demon is 2.3, the 720S 2.5 seconds. And not only that, it has great handling and a high top speed. It's a fantastic car. I would love to have the 720S in my garage one day. And finally, 96 and 98 go to both CX-75s because they're the only ones. There are no 95 British cars, no 97 British cars, no 99, and no 100, at least when it comes to non-price cars. So the CX-75s, they kind of get a freebie because they're the only ones in their niche. But anyway, guys, that's going to be my list on what I think are the best British cars for every RQ available. And of course, shout out to the Dodge Charger. For every time I do an episode in this series, the Charger's going to be here. But anyway, let me know if you agreed or disagreed with my list below. Let me know what country you want to see next. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace!
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere